Hi friends, Astrologer Joseph Anthony here, and welcome to this month's New Moon Outlook. This one for March the 29th, 2025. And as you can see here, this is just not an ordinary new moon. This is a solar eclipse, and this will be an Aries solar eclipse. And we're going to get into all the details on this, but I've named this solar eclipse New Horizons. And this is absolutely going to set us on a new trajectory in the coming months and the coming year, because eclipses, especially solar eclipses, can take up to a year to manifest. We begin to see a transformation taking place wherever that eclipse takes place. So we already had a lunar eclipse on the 14th, and that was an ending, a completion, a realization. It was in the sign of Virgo, so wherever that was in your chart, that's the area you wanted to look at. But now with this Aries solar eclipse, this is a big one because Neptune is also going to be moving into Aries for the first time in 165 years. So to astrologers, that's really big news. And for humanity, it really is a change in consciousness. And I will get into all of that as well. I have charts and we'll cover everything about this solar eclipse. So let's get going, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you haven't done so, please watch my live stream that I did on the 23rd. Some of the slides I do have in here, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit more because I did go deeper into what's actually happening to us with this cosmic energy and these retrograde planets. But in this chart, in this presentation, I'm going to focus more on the solar eclipse and what we could expect in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so if you haven't done so, check this one out. Anyway, this is the second eclipse of the year. Here it is right here. And this is the only one in, it looks like a fire sign. The rest of them are in mutable earth sign. And in the fall, we have these other two coming in. Okay, now Virgo and Pisces represents health. It represents our daily routine. It represents the psyche, spirituality. And also, Virgo represents perfection. So we're changing something about the way we do things on a regular basis. And we could see it in society today, especially here in the United States, but we're seeing it all around the world. How people are changing, jobs are changing because of technology, innovation, or economies that are really being transformed right before our eyes. But this solar eclipse on the 29th is very powerful. It's not a super strong one. It's a partial lunar eclipse, so it's not a total eclipse. But nonetheless, it's still an eclipse where the moon blocks out the sun. It's sort of like a reset in astrology, symbolically a reset that's taking place. But the fact that it happens in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is very important because Aries represents the self. So wherever this is in your actual birth chart, that's the area that's going to get a boost of energy in some way over the course of the next 6 months to a year. So you need to pay attention to that, okay? So this is how it works. Now, let's dive in a little deeper here and just give you an overview. And I covered this in that live stream, so I'm not going to, talk about every one of these traits. But every sign has positive and negative traits. And the sign, the things associated with Aries are courage, pioneering spirit, very independent, very quick. As a matter of fact, too quick, impulsive, right there on the negative side. Aries is a sign that cannot control itself. It loves action. It loves the thrill of the chase. It loves adventure. It loves to conquer and be the first at something. So it can be very assertive, very competitive, absolutely, very forceful. And they make good leaders because they like to take leadership roles. This is just the general overview of the traits of Aries. But on the negative side, they can be very domineering, very selfish, because Aries is the sign of the self. So everything in their consciousness or how they perceive the world is through the lens of the self. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go there. You'll hear the word I all over the place. They can be very impatient. I want it now. I want it like yesterday. Arrogant, absolutely. Quick-tempered, absolutely. And I do have an example here of one individual that is in the news right now who's an Aries that is actually, resembling all of this stuff that I'm seeing here. Violent, Absolutely, but it could also be creative. Again, this is a general overview depending on where your Aries is in your chart. If you are an Aries, Aries rising, Aries moon, it really depends on how the aspects are. But again, this is very general overview of the Aries energy, so you have an understanding of when I go into the charts what it means. Aries represents self-awareness. Okay, since it's the first sign of the zodiac, it represents the self. So this is why we have new beginnings associated with Aries. We have Aries in the springtime because the sun is beginning to make its ascent to the highest point in the sky. But it begins with Aries. Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. The ram, which likes to climb up mountains, likes to achieve, likes to get into battle with other rams. And we could see this. So Aries represents the self. So if you've got a strong Aries in your chart, you know what I'm talking about. It's me, me, me. I don't care. I don't care about anybody else. It's me, me, me. I'm going to do this. Okay? Now, if you have other aspects in your chart that are weakening that Aries energy, then you start feeling sorry for yourself, or nobody loves me, and so on and so forth. You get it? So this is how it works. But again, I want you to become aware that Aries represents the self, and this is very important to understand. Aries is known for being audacious, fearless, and strong when faced with challenges. All the fire signs, including Leo and Sagittarius, have this quality. But Aries and Leo both have it very strong where they act out of instinct. And so it makes them fearless. It makes them determined. I'll give you another example. In the wild, you have the badgers. Notice how aggressive that little badger is. It will take on opponents 10 times its own size and will not stop. That's the kind of energy that Aries generally has. Okay, if you have a lot of strong Aries, it's fearless. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go accomplish this. I'm going to go make this happen. So this is the kind of energy we're going to be dealing with in the next 6 months to a year. We're going to be seeing more aggressive energy. We're going to be focusing on ourselves. We're going to be becoming more aware of our strengths. So keep that in mind, okay? Now, here is a perfect depiction of what the Aries symbolism is. I covered it in the live stream. This is one of the slides from my course in my community. So if you're interested, there's a whole 6-module course in my Inner Circle community. And the best part is there's a free 7-day trial. So you could go in there and look at the course and learn as much as you can about the astrology. But anyway, this is one of the slides that I use. As you can see here, the Rams are always doing battle for dominance. It's just the way they work. And the part of the body that they're associated with is the head. So do you see another sport that embodies that kind of movement or behavior? Boxing, perhaps. Football, perhaps. But they're also associated with war because this is the god of war. And so we also see soldiers, conflict, all of that stuff. So in the year ahead, unfortunately, we may see a lot more conflict, battles, either in Washington or on the field. There is that possibility here. I have to toss that in. I'm not trying to be negative or fear-based. It's just the way the energy works. And it's up to us, to not feed into it or stop it, because we do have free will and we can sway the outcome. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's go into the chart and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th. It happens in the morning. And I use the East Coast here in D.C. I will be covering the United States' chart because, again, the United States is front and center with all this energy. So here it is at 9 degrees of Aries. So wherever that is in your birth chart, that's the area you're going to focus that energy on. Okay, so if it's in the first house, it's the self, the identity, your appearance, the way others see you. And let's say it's in the 7th house. It'll be all about relationships and new people. If it's in the 10th house, it's career and status and getting a lot more attention. Again, it depends on where it is in your actual birth chart. So 9 degrees of Aries. So first we have to look at the ruler of Aries, which is Mars right there. Mars has been in Cancer for the longest time, since December, I believe, the 6th of 2024. Mars does not do well in Cancer. This is why we've been walking around more sensitive, more emotional, feeling like we're lost, just wanting protection, staying at home, because Mars wants to get up and go, and Cancer wants security. So you see the dichotomy here. Okay, so it does not work very well. And the fact that it was retrograde, meaning going within even more, has been frustrating to so many people, especially if you're an Aries or a fire sign, or even a Cancer for that matter. There's been a lot of doubt, fear, uncertainty in the mix. And that's why I said at the beginning of the year, I said the first 4 months of 2025 are going to be challenging because of the energies. And that's how it works, friends. Okay, so we see Mars in a weakened position during this solar eclipse. Now, let's look a little deeper, because Mars is not the only planet that's activated here. Mercury is in Aries, and it's in retrograde at this time. We also see that, it's making some aspects here. But Mercury is about communication. And so things from the past may be resurfacing in the public, in our own lives. We may be thinking about people from the past, situations from the past. I got to take care of this. I got to go back and resolve this matter. But you're bringing this new, fresh energy to the mix here. So keep that in mind. Because of the retrograde of Venus and Mercury at the same time, this can be a little tricky, and Mars being in Cancer, which is already Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio all represent the past as well. So it's like we have one foot in this reality and looking towards the future, and we have one foot in the past trying to resolve matters and issues and decisions we've made. So this is what this energy is doing. It's a conflicting energy, no doubt about it. But when we look at some of the aspects to this new moon, it's actually very positive. First, I see there is a sextile to Jupiter right here. So this is about communication and ideas. So I'm going to suggest to many of you, move forward with those ideas and those things. Plan them out. Okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I see this eclipse is going to motivate me a little bit more. And by the way, the motivation will happen the second half of April, because Mars will switch signs, go into Leo, and the energy will start building as Mercury and Venus both come out of retrogrades. So there'll be stronger energy the second half of April, okay? But during this eclipse, you set the intentions. You talk about, and literally write down what you want to do, where you want to go, what you need to focus on. And Jupiter will help you with that. Jupiter's a visionary. And so being that this is an aspect, a favorable aspect, even though it's not exact, it's still within the realm of possibilities here. You should take advantage of that energy. We also have an alignment to Pluto, 3 degrees of Aquarius on the other side. So we have 2 sextiles making a favorable alignment to this solar eclipse. And so this one also is about change, power, the future, since it's in Aquarius. So this is suggesting to me we're seeing things that we need to see down the road, and we need to prepare for them now. In your personal life, like I said, many people are going to be feeling the need to move, to change jobs, to leave relationships, because Aries energy is very independent. And when Aries is not satisfied anymore, it moves on. It's just the way the energy works. Okay, so keep that in mind, because Mars will come out of this security-driven sign and then go into Leo, where it's much more creative, much more playful, and wants to achieve, wants to conquer, wants to experience. So the second half of April should be much better, but that doesn't mean it's going to be all rosy and peachy and keen, and but these next couple of weeks are going to be a little challenging because of the full moon also, and I do have a chart on that too, and I'll cover that in a second, okay? But this gives you an idea of the kind of energy we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a lot of spirituality too, and I said that in the live stream. We've got all these planets in Pisces, very spiritual time, okay? And so what that means is we're becoming more aware. We're doing things out of compassion. I see it all the time. I'll give you an example. I was in a grocery store and I let somebody ahead of me. I said, you've only got a couple items. Go right ahead. The person turns around and pays for my. I had something. I don't know. I had one item in my hand, 2 items in my hand. He turns around. He goes, "I'm going to pay for this guy behind me because he let me in front of him." That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when we're talking about Pisces. It's about giving and being kind, and it was just one of those things that just reminded me of what's important, And so that was a nice gesture. I thanked him. I said, "You don't really have to do that, but thank you so much, and I appreciate it." Only because, you have to understand that everything is an exchange of energy. If I was to say to that guy, no, I don't want you to pay free. No. What would have happened? He would have felt horrible. He would have felt like I feel so bad. I tried to help somebody and I couldn't. So I accepted the offer out of gratitude because I realized that this individual was just being kind and wanted to sort of exchange a moment in a sense. You got it? That's how it works. And so that's the kind of Pisces energy we're dealing with right now. And so we have to keep that in mind. Once the planets start going into Aries, then it's more, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't really care what anybody thinks. I got to go make things happen. You see, it's a totally different energy because it's bringing us to the beginning again. So keep that in mind. Here in the United States' chart, this is going to fall in the 4th house of the United States, which represents the people, the foundation, real estate. I'll give you an example. The government's talking about opening up real estate that the federal government owns to developers and stuff like that. I don't think it's a great idea, but this is what they're working on. As you can see here, the 4th house is being activated. You follow? Anything to do with the national parks, anything to do with the land is going to be highlighted with this solar eclipse. Now, the other thing that this could represent is the House of Representatives. Now, I'm seeing a trend here which I do not like, and unfortunately, it will continue this entire year, where members of Congress, especially in the House, because they're not as bright, shall we say, or they're very feisty. The Senate's a little more dignified, and they're old school, and they have decorum, and so on and so forth. They've been around the block. Let's put it that way. But the House, well, I want you to keep an eye on the United States House of Representatives, because I'm seeing a trend there that that's disturbing. I'm seeing a lot of battling taking place. I'm seeing a lot of conflict, a lot of words flying. And I've got one of the representatives here that I want to focus on right after this chart. But this is a trend here that we need to pay attention to, because that solar eclipse is also squaring Venus, which represents partnerships, legal issues, also squaring Jupiter, values, beliefs, direction, and the sun. It's so sun squaring sun, not exact, but it's still sun versus sun. So this is egos coming out. This is, no, I got to do it my way. No, you're going to do it my way. No, this is how I want it. There is that trend that I'm seeing here, friends. So I got to warn you guys. You guys, most of you, I would say 80%, 85% of you have been following me a while, and I thank you. And you understand where I'm coming from, okay? I'm just showing you the trends, and I'm showing you that I do support this great awakening that's occurring. It's painful, yes. It's uncomfortable. It's weird. We got a lot of actors going on, but we're going to see things getting escalated even more, unfortunately, in the next, I would say, 6 months to a year, as this Aries energy keeps ramping up. And one of the other reasons is because Neptune. And I'll cover that shortly, but I want you to just see what I'm talking about. We see the solar eclipse making a sextile right here, 2nd house of income and values. Also making almost an exact sextile to Uranus, which is innovation, surprises, and people speaking their minds. And we also see the one to Jupiter right there in the 7th house of legal issues. Now, this administration, I'm not going to be talking about Mr. Trump, but in this administration, they've got more lawsuits going up against them to try and stop them. So this is definitely a house associated with legal matters, and we will continue to see these legal battles in the news or online or wherever you get your information from, okay? But the 3rd house is still being very active here. And so I will continue to say that we are going to continue to see news coming out of Washington that's going to surprise people or make people upset or whatever it is. Okay, and we're seeing a lot of it because of the executive orders that are being signed. So keep an eye on all this. But the trend seems to be more fighting in the House of Representatives. So I want you guys to pay attention. And I do mean fighting because remember, Aries does represent conflict. In your own personal life, you might find yourself being irritated for no apparent reason, because it's just the nature of the energy, okay? But try and center yourself as you are around other people or driving or any of that stuff. Try and help yourself, okay? Now, I want to talk about this little whack job. This one, she's been all over the news. I'm not even going to mention her name, but she has been making stupid statements. And the only reason I'm using her is because she made this announcement that her birthday was March the 29th. I said, oh, March the 29th, there's a solar eclipse that's going to hit her chart. dead on. So I said, I got to take a look at this chart and see why she's acting the way she is. So one of the big statements she made is, all I want for my birthday is for this guy to be taken out. Okay, this is like, she's made 4 or 5 statements. I don't know. They're all ridiculous in nature. But this is the nature of Aries. They can be impulsive. Just speak, without thinking. They do it. It's just their nature. Okay, and the fact that she's young and, thinks she knows it all, but she is a true Aries through and through. And let me show you her chart. Okay, so let's look at her chart. She's born in 1981 in St. Louis. We don't have a time, so I use the rising chart right there. Look at her chart. The Sun conjunct Mars, the ruler of Aries. Do you think this person is basically selfish or driven or is impulsive? Absolutely. Also has Venus in Aries right there. This is someone that is, I hate to say it, very much thinks about herself and what she wants and how she's going to get it. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I don't care what you think. I got to give her credit for becoming a congresswoman. Okay. Not everyone could do that, but she managed to get herself into Washington. And now her true colors are starting to come out. But I want to show you some other things. This is how you read a chart, friends, so you have an understanding of how astrology works. We could see that she's frustrated about something. Okay, so Sun conjunct Mars can be frustration. It could be inner frustration because, remember, Aries is the self. But when we look at the opposite side, which is Libra, she also has planets in Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto, all in the sign of Libra, which is the opposite of Aries. So we see this inner tension in this person that is frustrating at times. So when we have like the transiting moon or something's going around and it triggers these points, she gets more irritated, okay? And maybe it's just an inner irritation within herself, beating herself up and worrying and whatever. But I wanted to show you how the astrology works. Now, but there's more. Okay, not only is the opposition here tension-filled, but she also has her moon in Capricorn. Now, moon in Capricorn, normally they're not very, outgoing or aggressive in a sense. But the moon is squaring her Pluto, 19 degrees, 23 degrees. There's another irritation right there. So what I'm seeing here in this individual is irritation after irritation within herself. Now, chances are it runs in the family dynamics because that's how astrology works. You're an offshoot of the energy of your parents. Okay, you're a little of your mom, a little of your dad, and you're an expression of that. So we could see here how she has all this tension built up. So frustration. I feel frustrated. I need to do. Maybe she's a bit of a perfectionist too. And maybe she's beating herself up, or maybe she's had issues with relationships because she's got this Venus, which is relationships, opposing Saturn and opposing Jupiter. She might have had very tough relationships in her life. But Libra is the opposite of Aries in the sense that it wants kindness, it wants gentle, it wants to get along, it wants to be peaceful. But you could see here there's a real battle, 3 planets on either side within herself. Indecisiveness and wanting to be fair and kind. And then all of a sudden, I want aggression. I want a battle. I'm going to speak my mind. And Aries does it impulsively. And so we see that here. But I want to bring up something else here. In February, Mars, the ruler of Aries, has been opposing her moon. So I know that this individual has been getting really irritated, whether it's on the floor of the house or within herself. And we also see the square to Pluto. So it's like everyone that she's been coming into contact with has been irritating the hell out of her. You see what I'm saying? We've also had some other alignments going on over here. These Pisces planets have been triggering her Pisces. So there's a lot of confusion in the mix. I'm not sure what the hell I'm doing. I feel so irritated. I just want to lash out. So there is this amazing amount of frustration that's been setting into this individual. And this is an individual we're going to have to keep an eye on the next 6 months to a year, and I'll explain why in a second. After Mars went direct, it hit that moon again, but this time it really triggered the energy. It created that cross in astrology. And as the old saying goes, this is a heavy cross to bear because she has 2 oppositions going in either direction. And around the 15th, we've been hearing a lot about her, right? Making stupid statements. And she can't help herself because there's so much aspecting her chart. Look at the Sun and Mars squaring her Neptune. Confusion. I'm just going to speak my mind. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do it. The same with the Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Right there on her Sun. Right there on her Mars, on her Venus. Confusion. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. I don't care. I'm just going to speak my mind. So she's made a conscious decision, and this is very typical of the Aries energy, and that's why I'm using her as an example. But the fact that her birthday is on the solar eclipse, friends, notice 9 degrees of Aries is conjunct her Mars at 9 degrees, conjunct her Sun at 8 degrees, and even her Venus right there. But the Mars is what I want to focus on. This is going to be someone who's going to be super aggressive in the next 6 months. This could be one of the people that ignites the passion in the House of Representatives. I mean, we already have some people there that are a little on the wild side, acting up and so on and so forth. But I want you to keep an eye on this one because of this eclipse highlighting her Mars and her Sun. She may do silly things or stupid things or really lash out at people like reporters or even the opposition. So this is why I brought her up, is because I want you guys to pay attention to this, because you're going to see the behavior that I'm talking about continuing to build and build and build. Because once Neptune goes into Aries, anything to do with Aries is going to be completely, escalated in some way. Okay, so keep that in mind, friends. Now, speaking of Aries, once again, we have Neptune, which is the planet behind there, entering Aries as well on the 30th. Now, this is monumental, friends, because every astrologer knows, especially Western astrologer. Vedic astrology is a little different. It'll be the sign before. It'll be Aquarius. But in Western astrology, we have Neptune entering Aries. So we have more energy amplified in the sign of Aries just in the next couple of weeks. All right? Now, I covered this in the live stream, but I'm doing a couple of these slides again in case you missed it. You want to take a snapshot of what I'm showing you. Remember, Neptune in the Roman was the Roman god of the sea. And then before them, it was Greek god of the sea, Poseidon. Okay, and again, I'm just going to cover this real briefly just to give you an idea of Poseidon. This is the son of Kronos and Rhea. But here, I want to, and you could read this yourself. Poseidon plays a significant role in various Greek myths. For example, he competed with Athena, Venus for patronage of Athens. So everything was about battle with Neptune. But Neptune represents the power of the sea, of water. So I want you to keep that in mind because Neptune's going to be in Aries until October 22nd, I believe. Then it retrogrades back into Pisces for a few months, then re-enters Aries for the next 14 years, and that'll be in, I believe, January of 2026. So things pertaining to the water, the sea, anything to do with oil, these are going to be under the umbrella of Neptune. Now, the fact that it's in Aries makes it a little bit more difficult because now we have the self-directed, I don't care what you think, I'm going to move forward with my ideas. I'm going to move forward with my crazy, temperamental self. And here, Poseidon is often depicted as a powerful but temperamental, which is Pisces, deity capable of both benevolent and vengeful action. He is quick to anger, especially when his authority is challenged or when he feels disrespected. Do we see that in society today? Do we see some of these people, on, I hate to say left or right, but the left who have purple hair, blue hair, have short hair, are dressed in very weird colors. These are folks that are under the umbrella of either Aquarius energy, which likes to do things out of the ordinary, does not like to fit in, and Neptune, the confusion, the uncertainty. Neptune folks see color. They are very drawn to colors because color is a frequency. So we see these folks having flashy, loud colors that want to be seen, want to be heard, want to be different. And a lot of them are very emotional and quick-tempered. Do we not see that? So again, I'm just using this as an example. As Neptune enters the sign of war, Aries, battle, conflict, we could have the possibilities of this. Now, does this mean this is going to happen all over the world? No. But there is that possibility in certain cities and places where this energy is going to run wild. For instance, let's say you live in California, in one of the deep blue cities, like Southern California or San Francisco. This is a very possible scenario where water issues could develop because it's along the coast. We could see people doing things that you just scratch your head and go, wow, I can't believe that. And we're already seeing that destruction in these cities. Okay? So, but Neptune has the power to dissolve as well. So we're seeing that. So we're seeing emotions, we're seeing confusion, and we're seeing sort of things dissolving. And this is what Neptune in Aries is going to bring. And unfortunately, Neptune in Aries will also bring loss of identity. I'm not sure who I am anymore. I just want to act. I'm impulsive. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to do what I want. You see, that's the mindset that's going to take place with Neptune in Aries, especially now with the sun going through Aries and Neptune entering Aries. Okay, so keep that in mind, friends. Again, it's symbolic. By the way, this is another slide from my Inner Circle community. All right, so this is the one I wanted to focus on because this is from Grok online, and you could do this and look it up for yourself. I think I put in what are the qualities of Neptune in Aries, and I did it on Grok. And I did this because it's faster, it's easier, instead of me trying to explain it to you. But I want you to notice the underlying words, because these are going to be the general themes of this Neptune in Aries energy, okay? Idealistic courage, because idealism is definitely a Neptune trait. And Aries is courage. So here we see Neptune in Aries can inspire a fearless pursuit of dreams and ideas. People with this placement might feel driven to take bold action to manifest their visions, often with a sense of urgency and passion. This could be in your personal life. It could be artistic endeavors. It could be driving. It could be when you're involved with somebody else and all of a sudden you're impulsive and no, it's got to be this way and no, it's got to be that way. You see what I'm saying? It's very tumultuous. It's very unsettling. The second, spiritual assertiveness. No, my God is better than your God. That is a real possibility here. There's a tendency to blend spirituality with proactive, independent spirit. This could manifest as a strong belief in personal intuition or desire to forge new spiritual paths rather than follow established traditions. Absolutely. Now, I will tell you, Neptune in Aries can be very psychic. So I want you guys to pay attention to your visions or dreams, because they may be telling you something, because your higher consciousness is bringing you information that you ordinarily wouldn't see. Got it? But the spiritual assertiveness, we could see more religious battles, more stuff going on with religious institutions and so on. Imaginative leadership. That's a big one, because imaginative, I'm a leader. No, I'm a leader. We could see that going on in groups and in like places like Washington and so on. Aries is a natural leader, and Neptune adds a layer of creativity and imagination. This combination might produce individuals that inspire others through innovative ideas or unconventional approaches. Okay? Hey, let's go out and destroy some companies and buildings because we don't like what they're doing in Washington. All right? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. The electric car manufacturer, where people are literally destroying property because of their anger and frustration. You could see the Neptune energy. You could see the Aquarius energy in these folks. They're not thinking. They're just acting out of impulse. Blur of boundaries and action. You could see that a perfect example. Okay? It dissolves boundaries. Neptune dissolves boundaries. Well, Aries is direct and decisive. This could lead to a paradoxical mix. Acting impulsively without clear direction, or pursuing goals that are more idealistic than practical. Do we not see that in society today, friends? Okay? Unfortunately, a lot of it is on the left. And I hate to sound political here, but we could see that because the left is more of the artistic. They are more the emotional. They are more of not wanting to fit in. This is why it's happening on the left, and this is why a lot of folks like that gravitate towards the left. Not that the right is any better. The right is more organized, meticulous. Let's control everything. We have a certain belief systems, and you could see that battle, is a natural between humanity. This inner tension of which direction to go in. But we see it more on the left. passionate dreamers. Many of them are artistic and wanting to express themselves. So, but in our personal lives, we may see more of this, like, having a vivid dream about something that you need to focus on. A fire energy of Aries fuels Neptune's dreamy nature, potentially creating intense enthusiasm for artistic, spiritual, and humanitarian pursuits, though it might lack grounding at times. Remember, Neptune or Pisces, which is one and the same, vivid imaginations. They are walking between worlds. One foot in this reality, the physical world, and another foot in the ethereal realms of consciousness. Okay, and we're all basically doing that. But the Neptune Pisces energy has more of a connection to the other realms of consciousness, which are non-physical. Imagination, energy, colors. This is the theme associated with Neptune. Now, this is the one that I really want you guys to focus on. Potential for delusion or martyrdom. Neptune represents feeling sorry for oneself, giving, sacrificing oneself. This is why many people are Pisces or have strong Neptunes in their chart. They go into healing arts or places like hospitals where they give of themselves to help or heal. Neptune energy is very healing. Neptune energy is very spiritual in nature, and they're always looking to help others, which is one of the greatest qualities that Neptune or Pisces has. Okay, remember, all signs have really great qualities and then not so great qualities. So one of the downsides to the Neptune Pisces energy is feeling so sorry for themselves that they take their own lives, or they escape reality through drugs and alcohol or addiction or sexuality. They sacrifice and nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, I will be abused, I don't really care about myself anymore. It's the martyrdom. Delusion, that's absolutely under this umbrella. This is a sign that's also associated with mental illness. Okay, many people in the psych wards, are there. If I was to look at their charts, I would say there would be either a lot of a Neptune energy there or a lot of Aquarian energy, but mostly Neptune. But Neptune could bring illusion or confusion. In Aries, this might show up as overconfidence. In other words, to compensate for the weakness and the uncertainty, you compensate by becoming more aggressive and reckless. A tendency to sacrifice oneself for a cause without fully considering the consequences. It's acting out of impulse, okay? Historically, Neptune was in Aries roughly from 1861 to 1875. That sounds familiar, right? Let's see. Here it is, Neptune entering Aries. This is going to be on the 30th at 8 a.m. on the East Coast, right there. And as soon as it enters, it starts making an alignment to Pluto, which is the great transformer. The planet that transforms. It's the symbol of death and rebirth. It's power. And so this is going to be big, but in 2026 these will absolutely be in alignment with each other in a favorable way. So it could be some new changes coming to society depending on where it is in your own personal chart and wherever you live. So this could be very important. So we need to keep an eye on this. Now in the United States' chart, we see Neptune at the bottom of the chart about to enter the 4th house. Remember, we had the solar eclipse in the 4th house, but now we have the power of Neptune hovering right around the 1 and 2 degree mark right here. So we're going to have a little bit of a taste of what's to come either in the fall or in 2026 when Neptune enters back into Aries, which will be in 2026 January. But it's going to be hovering around here. So with the eclipse in Aries activating this energy and Neptune going into Aries and beginning to square Venus here, and then it won't square Jupiter at least for a couple of years, but at least Venus. We're seeing some major issues here with financial transformation, with legal battles, with people in the homeland having more conflict because it's in Cancer. Anything to do with the house, I believe, is going to be very tumultuous with legal battles and all kinds of showboating and all that other stuff. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm telling you here, this is what I see coming. And then we also see Mars right on the Mercury as this happens. So people are going to be speaking their minds in frustration, And then, of course, it's going to be making that sextile to Pluto. It'll go up to 2 degrees, which will be close enough, but not an exact sextile. But again, it's showing me a transformation in several areas. Like I said, financially or with our values, or something going on with the land in the United States. Okay, and it could be water issues. Maybe there is droughts, maybe there's unusual weather. We've been having a lot of solar activity as I'm doing this video. It's been really weird. Tremendous solar holes that are developing on the sun. And so this is very important as well. And it could affect the tides and the oceans. So keep that in mind, because remember, Neptune represents the oceans. But here is the second. Saturn is going to be the second planet that enters Aries. And we astrologers are going, oh boy, here we go. And that's going to happen on May the 24th. So we're going to have both of these in the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. So something new is coming. Something new. I think it's going to be the financial system. It may even be new forms of government, maybe new executive orders, new military interventions. This is all possibility here, friends. So this is what I'm trying to show you. In your personal life, this could be, I got to pick up myself and I got to go. I got to go do this, this, and this. You'll become more aggressive. You'll become more driven with these planets in Aries. Again, it depends on your birth chart. Okay? But I'm giving you a general overview. This is the last time Neptune entered Aries. It was in April of 1861. And we had this going on, friends. So we astrologers are going, oh, please, God, don't make this happen. We do not need another battle like this in this country or anywhere else in the world. I've come to the conclusion, nobody in the world wants fighting, battling. But unfortunately, the leadership and the manipulators of this planet, whoever they are or whatever it is, loves pitting people against each other. It causes conflict. It causes deaths. It keeps everyone suppressed. It's a control mechanism. Okay? So this is a possibility, again, in the United States, because remember, the United States is going through its Pluto return. And in July, Uranus enters Gemini, which, by the way, I do have the chart here for the Civil War. Uranus was in Gemini at the time of the Civil War when it started here. We had the Sun in Aries. Venus will be back in Aries. And look at where Neptune and Mercury were. And then, of course, when it went into Aries, it started making its way down. And this is where all the battle and the conflict and all the craziness started to ensue. So all I'm suggesting is there is that possibility of conflict coming. Could be in some of the major cities. Could be, some sort of devastation along a coastline somewhere. It could be just waking up. Neptune in Aries could be spiritual awakening. Like, for instance, you realize that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You're going to do your best to help others. And there's a lot of people that are doing that. I try and do that myself every chance I get, just like the guy in the grocery store, paying for my item behind me, in front of me. My point being is it doesn't have to be devastation. But unfortunately, 70% of the population on this planet cannot see beyond their immediate environment, whatever they're going through. And they constantly focus on that, and they never get out of it. It's like this never-ending loop. So we have to pay attention to this, friends. It is a very volatile time that we're entering. And the powers that shouldn't be love battling and love conflict, so we have to keep an eye on this. All right. So let's continue. I think I've got a few more slides here. Okay, on the 7th, we have Mercury going direct in Pisces, which should help a little bit. It's still in Mercury in Pisces, not the greatest. It's imagination. It's about fantasy. It's not being able to see straight or think straight. Okay, but at least when it's going direct, we start to get a little clarity. So the momentum keeps building, okay? But I want to focus on this full moon because, again, we astrologers that are paying attention here are seeing some sort of conflict with this Libra full moon. And I'll show you what I mean. Libra is the sign of balance and fairness and diplomacy and judicial issues, liberty. This is all under the umbrella of Libra. So we could see things pertaining to that. And here are some of the positive and negative traits of this sign. It's about balance. It's about partnerships. It's about relating to others. On the negative side, it could be indecisiveness, gullibility, not wanting to make a decision. insensitive, manipulative. All you could see it. You could freeze this and read it for yourself, but I'm giving you an overview, okay? But here is that full moon on the 12th. Look at it. It's at 23 degrees, or so wherever this is in your birth chart, it'll activate that energy. And the ruler of Venus is, of this moon is Venus right there. It's in Libra. And there is Venus conjunct Saturn, conjunct the North Node, even conjunct Mercury. And so what this is suggesting to me is there could be some unrealistic battles, either legal matters or conflicts that erupt around this time, because we have Mars that's also creating a T-square in the mix here. Remember what I've been saying about T-squares? They are tension. They build tension. And Mars is in Cancer, the sign of emotion. So this is like putting a little fire, fuel on the fire. And Venus being restricted by Saturn here. Something new could be announced. Could have to do with financial matters or a new partnership. But it may piss people off. I'm just saying. Okay, so something big is brewing here with the solar eclipse being activated, Neptune going into Aries, and now we have this one here. It could be like the Supreme Court making a decision that pisses a lot of people off. That is absolutely a possibility here. Or something to do with the markets, or a battle, like a war. I know they're trying to get us into war again because the economic situation is getting worse around the world. And so when they always love to take us to war when the financial system is in trouble. So that is a possibility too, friends, unfortunately. Okay, so I want you to keep an eye on this. But wherever this is in your actual birth chart, you're going to feel this energy. All right? Now, in the United States' chart, it creates that cross again, just like it did in the Congresswoman's chart, the cross, the heavy cross to bear. But Mars is opposing Pluto at 27 degrees, friends. So I am seeing conflict. I am seeing friction. And again, it could be in the House of Representatives. It could be another legal battle with Mr. Trump. It can be, maybe a mayor or a governor from one of the blue states is just going to say, enough, we're not taking this anymore. We're going to do what we want. So whatever it is, there's a lot of tension in the air around this full moon in the United States. Now, wherever you're from, that could be a little different. But we're seeing this energy building and building. And so I'm seeing just very tricky. We're also seeing an exact inconjunct from Venus to powerful Pluto. And inconjuncts are unrealistic, imaginative. They're not realistic in a sense that coming to fruition. So there could be some battles here, again, with people and their points of view and the frustration level, or maybe there's more protests of some kind. This is the kind of energy I'm seeing around this full moon, friends. So at least you guys have a heads up. And please do not take any of this energy personally, like it's only happening to you. That's the worst thing you could do. I'm showing you the energy that's at play. Understand it and go, okay, real heavy energy, I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to take it personally. I'm going to do the best I can. Got it? That's what my suggestion is. All right. So on the 12th, less than an hour later, Venus goes direct in Pisces. So now we're starting to get either a little clarity. It starts to build. These planets start to move forward. We should start seeing a little bit more clarity. So keep that in mind. Okay. Now, on the 16th, Mercury re-enters Aries. Now, this is very powerful, friends, because now we have our minds are geared towards that. I got to do, I got to go, I got to do this. I don't care what anybody thinks. It's all about me. Now we're seeing the energy ramped up even more. The sun is still in Aries at this time. We have Neptune in Aries. Now Mercury enters Aries. So as you can see, there's the timeline. Mercury will be in Aries until May the 11th. This is a very volatile time. This is a time where we see some major changes. Financial, military, people's egos, restlessness, protests. Could be things related to water issues, fires. Okay, Aries is a fire sign. We might see more fires in society, especially in the United States. Okay, so this is the downside to this energy. The positive side is aggressive. Get up and go. Let's go. Let's go do this. Let's accomplish. Let's make this happen. Let's go to the gym. There's a momentum and energy after the 16th. So if you want to sort of start exercising, if you want to start building something, if you need to go fix something, this is going to be great energy for doing all that. Okay? So keep that in mind. Mercury enters Aries right there, and it runs right into Neptune. So be realistic about what you're chasing. Be realistic about what you want. And so this will happen for a couple of days, and you need to pay attention to that. It will also be making a sextile to Pluto, so pay attention to that. We've got some, you could have some very strong, vivid dreams that could be really beneficial. So keep an eye on that. In the United States' chart, once again, we see the conjunction. Lots of communication, lots of frustration, irritation, squaring. It's going to square Jupiter and Venus, and at some point it's going to square the United States' sun. So I'm seeing conflict. I'm seeing frustration. I'm seeing major changes, announcements, stuff that's going on in the political realm with people because they're just feeling frustrated in some way. Okay? It would be great if they just like awaken and say, oh, I realize who I am. I'm a spiritual being. Okay, I'm not going to feed into any fears and something, but I don't see that. I see it more as it's going to be people and battles and being conflicted and angry and, wanting to speak their opinion. And that's what I see coming, friends. Okay, so just prepare yourself. If you live in one of these cities or states that there's conflict, try and avoid it, move away from it, do the best you can. That would be my suggestion. Okay. Anyway, if you like this video and you want to know more, I do have the Inner Circle community. As I said, I do the extended monthly horoscopes there. I do the weekly astrology overview. And members, every Sunday, we get on a Zoom call and we talk. And people, they share their charts with me. I go over any questions they may have. And there's a 7-day free trial. So you have nothing to lose. And that astrology lesson, the 6-module course is in there too. So keep that in mind. I hope you join. I look forward to seeing you there every Sunday. We're on that Zoom call, chatting away. And so, and of course, I could talk more freely on that platform than I can here. Also, there is a new incentive program. I left the information down in the link below. So just for those of you that don't know, if you click on the word more that's highlighted in the description, it opens up the box and you could see more of what's in there. So I want you guys to pay attention to that. But this incentive program is kind of cool, and I left it down below and, it could help you out, And so I think this is a really great idea. Always remember, friends, who we really are. We're the energy in the suit. We're not the suit, even though we are, but we're more than that. We're more than the physical suit. We are the human having this experience, but we are a spiritual being in the suit, powering the suit. And that's what we all are. Everything is just energy in this universe. And the more you understand that, the more you appreciate other energies and other beings having experiences, the more you push away from fear, anger, frustration. That's how it works, friends. Okay? So have a great new moon. Set your intentions. I wish the best for all of you, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.